Sleepy Hollow. What if Ichabod Crane became the next Headless Horseman? Chapter 1. The Last Ride of Ichabod Crane. There are valleys in which every sound travels farther than it should. A bell rung at sunset may linger among the hills until midnight. The cry of a bird may cross the river and return so altered that no natural throat seems capable of making it. A horse's hoofbeats may continue long after the road is empty. Sleepy Hollow was such a place. It lay beneath the eastern hills near the Hudson River, hidden among woods, streams, farms, and old Dutch houses whose roofs appeared to have grown from the earth. A quiet enchantment rested upon the valley. The people who lived there moved through their days as other people did, planting fields, raising children, attending church, quarreling with neighbors, and carrying gossip from one kitchen to the next. Yet even the most sensible among them lowered their voices when darkness gathered beneath the trees. They spoke of lights moving through abandoned fields. They spoke of voices calling from wells. Most of all, they spoke of a rider without a head. The horseman, according to the oldest inhabitants, had once been a Hessian soldier whose head was carried away by a cannonball during the Revolutionary War. His body had been buried in the churchyard, but his head was never found. On certain nights, especially in the dark season of the year, he rode from his grave and searched the roads for what he had lost. No one agreed upon exactly what would happen if he found it. Some claimed he would rest. Others said that a creature which had wandered so long without a face would no longer remember how to wear one. In the autumn of a particular year, when the forests surrounding Sleepy Hollow burned red and gold beneath the moon, there lived in the valley a schoolmaster named Ichabod Crane. To describe Ichabod as thin would be insufficient. He appeared to have been stretched rather than grown. His arms reached from his coat like long handles. His feet were broad, his shoulders narrow, and his head small and flat at the top, with ears that stood away from it as if listening for separate conversations. His appearance made him an object of amusement to the stronger young men of the valley. Yet Ichabod possessed qualities that compensated for his lack of physical grace. He could read. He could write. He could calculate accounts, compose letters, lead the church choir, and explain matters of history to people who had never suspected history required explanation. He taught the children of the valley in a small schoolhouse built of logs, with windows partly glazed and partly repaired with old copybooks. Ichabod ruled his pupils according to an ancient principle of education: the smaller the offense, the longer the lecture. Yet he was not entirely severe. He spared the weak when he could do so without appearing to spare them, praised neat handwriting, and possessed a genuine fondness for children who listened carefully to his stories. His true delight, however, lay in tales of the supernatural. He read accounts of witches, dreams, signs, haunted houses, and spirits that returned to settle unfinished business. On long winter evenings, he would sit beside the fire of whichever family fed him that week and exchange ghost stories with the oldest women of the household. He believed nearly all of them. By daylight, Ichabod could explain that mysterious sounds were caused by wind, animals, or loose shutters. After sunset, he remembered that the devil was perfectly capable of using wind, animals, and loose shutters to accomplish his purposes. The legend of the Headless Horseman fascinated him more than any other. This fascination might have remained harmless had Ichabod not also developed an interest in Katrina Van Tassel. Katrina was the only daughter of Baltus Van Tassel, one of the wealthiest farmers in the region. She was 18, lively, intelligent, and fully aware of the effect she produced upon others. She possessed rosy cheeks, dark eyes, and a manner that made each young man believe she had noticed him in a special way, though she might only have been looking past him toward the door. Ichabod taught her singing. He soon convinced himself that Katrina admired his musical abilities. Then he convinced himself that she admired his learning. Finally, he convinced himself that she might admire him. His imagination did not stop there. Whenever Ichabod visited the Van Tassel farm, he saw not merely fields but future possessions. The wheat, corn, orchards, cattle, pigs, ducks, and geese seemed to arrange themselves into a great inheritance. He imagined marrying Katrina, selling the farm, traveling west, and carrying his wealth to some expanding town where no one had seen him ride a horse. His affection was sincere. So was his appetite. The two emotions lived comfortably together. Unfortunately for Ichabod, another man wished to marry Katrina. Abraham Van Brunt, known throughout the countryside as Brom Bones, was broad-shouldered, strong, and celebrated for every skill Ichabod lacked. He rode the wildest horses, fought the roughest men, laughed the loudest, and played practical jokes that were admired most by those who did not suffer from them. Brom had tried to force Ichabod into a direct confrontation. Ichabod refused. A man cannot easily be defeated. In a fight, he is careful never to begin. So Brom turned to mischief. He blocked the schoolhouse chimney until the room filled with smoke. He moved the schoolmaster's furniture onto the roof. One night, he and his friends entered the schoolhouse and arranged every object upside down, leaving Ichabod to suspect witchcraft. None of these efforts drove the schoolmaster away. Then Baltus Van Tassel announced a harvest gathering. An invitation arrived at the schoolhouse late in the afternoon. Ichabod dismissed his pupils early, reminding them that this unexpected mercy should not establish a dangerous precedent. He spent more than an hour preparing himself. He brushed his only respectable coat. He straightened his collar. He examined his reflection in a small piece of mirror and attempted several expressions that he considered romantic. For transportation, he borrowed a horse called Gunpowder from an old farmer named Hans Van Ripper. Gunpowder had once been powerful. Age had reduced him to a collection of sharp bones, stubborn habits, and private resentments. One eye had lost its sight, and the other regarded Ichabod without confidence. Mounted upon this creature, Ichabod presented an extraordinary figure. His knees rose nearly to the saddle, his elbows moved with each step, and his long coat fluttered behind him like a black flag announcing the arrival of hunger. The road to the Van Tassel farm passed through the most beautiful part of the valley. The evening sun touched the treetops. Red leaves drifted through the air. Crows called from distant fields. Smoke rose from chimneys, carrying the scent of burning wood into the cool evening. Ichabod tried not to think of the return journey. When he reached the farm, he forgot the road entirely. The Van Tassel house shone with candlelight. Wagons stood near the barn. Horses were tied along the fence. Music and laughter poured through the open doors. Inside waited a feast sufficient to make Ichabod temporarily forget both Katrina and the supernatural. There were roasted chickens, smoked beef, sliced ham, bowls of vegetables, loaves of bread, cakes, pies, donuts, preserves, and sweetened fruits. A great quantity of cider moved around the room, though never quickly enough for Brom Bones and his companions. Ichabod ate with concentration. He danced with ambition. His long limbs, which appeared so awkward at rest, entered a state of strange independence when the music began. He stamped, turned, kicked, and swung his arms with such enthusiasm that the other dancers withdrew to a safe distance. Katrina danced with him. That was enough to transform every smile into a promise. Brom stood near the wall, watching. When the dancing ended, the older guests gathered around the fire and began telling stories. They spoke of a woman in white who had been seen near the river. They spoke of a soldier's spirit that guarded buried treasure. They spoke of a tree beneath which a traitor had once been captured, and which now groaned whenever someone told a lie. At last, the conversation turned to the Headless Horseman. "Old Brower met him," said one of the guests. The horseman forced Brower to ride behind him. They flew over hill and swamp until they reached the church bridge. Then the Hessian turned into fire and threw Brower into the stream. Brom laughed. I met the Hessian myself. The room quieted. Ichabod leaned closer. I was coming home from the neighboring village, Brom continued, when a rider rose from the road behind me, no head upon his shoulders, a black horse beneath him. I offered to race him to the church bridge for a bowl of punch. You race the dead? Asked Katrina. I saw no reason to be impolite. And did you win? Ichabod asked. I would have won, but when we reached the bridge, the Hessian vanished in a flash of fire. Brom looked directly at the schoolmaster. He knows better than to race me twice. The guests laughed. Ichabod did not. He noticed a dark stain upon Brom's sleeve, as though the young man had handled a cloak covered in soot. He also noticed Brom's friends exchanging glances. For a moment, suspicion rose above superstition. Then a branch scratched the window, and superstition recovered its advantage. The party continued. Near midnight, the guests began to leave. Wagons departed down the lane. Candles were extinguished one by one. The house that had seemed full enough to contain the entire valley gradually emptied. Ichabod searched for Katrina. He found her in a small parlor away from the remaining guests. She stood beside the window, looking out at the moonlit fields. Katrina. She turned. Mr. Crane. There was something in her voice that made him wish she had called him Ichabod. I had hoped, he began, that before I left we might speak of the future. The future. Our future. Katrina lowered her eyes. Ichabod's heart beat faster. He spoke of devotion. He spoke of companionship. He spoke of his prospects, though these were described with less detail than the prospects he expected her father's land to provide. He spoke of traveling west, of building a respectable home, and of the important position he might one day occupy. Katrina listened. You would sell the farm? She asked. Ichabod paused. Not immediately. You have thought about it. Only as a practical consideration. And my father. He would be welcome to accompany us if his health allowed. Katrina looked at him differently. Until that moment, Ichabod had seen uncertainty in her face and interpreted it as modesty. Now he saw that she had been studying him. Do you love me? She asked. Or the life you imagine I can purchase for you? Ichabod's mouth opened. Nothing useful emerged. I admire you beyond expression. That is not an answer. Katrina, affection must have some practical foundation. A responsible husband considers property, security, and so you have considered the property, as any responsible man would. And if I possessed none? Ichabod hesitated for only a second. It was 1 second too long. Katrina stepped away. I think you should go, Mr. Crane. He stared at her. Have I misunderstood you? I think we have both understood enough. Outside the parlor, someone laughed. It sounded like Brom. Ichabod's face burned. Had Katrina encouraged him only to make Brom jealous? Had she smiled, danced, and invited his attention for the amusement of watching two men compete? Or had she genuinely considered him until his own words exposed the calculations beneath his affection? Ichabod did not ask. The answer might have required him to blame himself. He bowed stiffly. Good night, Miss Van Tassel. He left the house without saying farewell to Baltus. Brom was nowhere to be seen. Gunpowder waited beside the fence. The horse appeared disappointed when Ichabod returned, though perhaps that was merely the natural arrangement of his face. Ichabod mounted. The music faded behind him as he rode away. The night had changed. The warm lights of the farm disappeared behind the trees. Clouds moved across the moon. The woods pressed closer to the road, and every branch seemed bent beneath the weight of a listening creature. Ichabod tried to sing. His voice sounded thin. He stopped. The road passed beneath an enormous tree where a captured spy was said to have been executed. The branches twisted overhead like black arms. Something cracked in the woods. Gunpowder stopped. "Go on," Ichabod whispered. The horse refused. Another sound came from behind them. A hoof striking the road. Then another. Ichabod turned. A dark rider stood some distance away. Horse and rider were motionless. The clouds shifted, allowing moonlight to fall across the road. The rider appeared large and broad. A cloak covered his shoulders. Above those shoulders was nothing. Ichabod's body became cold. "Who are you?" The figure did not respond. Gunpowder began walking. The dark horse followed. Ichabod pulled at the reins. Gunpowder increased his pace reluctantly. The rider did the same. Soon the old horse was trotting, then galloping with a speed he had apparently been saving for an emergency sufficiently supernatural to deserve it. The rider remained behind them. Ichabod bent low over Gunpowder's neck. Branches struck his coat. Roots rose from the road. The saddle slipped sideways, forcing him to cling to the horse's mane. Behind him came the steady thunder of pursuit. He remembered Brom's story. The horseman would vanish at the church bridge. If Ichabod could cross it, he might be safe. The church appeared ahead, pale above the trees. Beyond it stood the bridge. Gunpowder ran harder. The pursuing horse drew alongside. Ichabod turned his head. The rider held a round object against the front of the saddle. Ahead. The horseman lifted it. Ichabod screamed. The object flew through the air and struck him. He fell from the saddle and hit the road. Gunpowder continued across the bridge without him. For several seconds, Ichabod could neither move nor breathe. Then he smelled crushed pumpkin. He opened his eyes. Orange fragments lay around him. The head had been a pumpkin. Hoofbeats crossed the bridge. The rider stopped on the other side. Ichabod lifted himself painfully. The headless figure reached beneath its cloak and pulled away the dark cloth that had concealed its face. Brom Bones looked back at him. Even in the moonlight, Ichabod could see him laughing. "You," Ichabod gasped. Brom raised one hand in farewell. Then he turned his horse toward the village. Ichabod's fear transformed into rage. He seized a broken piece of pumpkin and threw it after him, though it fell far short. "I will expose you," he shouted. "I will tell Katrina, I will tell the magistrate, I will." Brom's horse stopped. Brom was no longer laughing. He was looking past Ichabod, toward the woods. A new sound moved through the hollow. Hoofbeats. They were slower than Brom's. Heavier. They did not approach along the road. They came from within the earth, as though a horse were climbing from a place beneath the roots. Ichabod turned. A second rider emerged between the trees. The horse was enormous and black. Mist streamed from its nostrils. Its hooves touched the ground without disturbing the fallen leaves. The rider wore the torn uniform of a soldier from another age. No pumpkin rested above his shoulders. No human head rested there either. Brom stared. The realization passed between the two living men. There had been a false horseman on the road. Now there was a true one. Brom pulled violently at his reins. His horse leapt forward, carrying him toward the village. "Wait," Ichabod cried. "Do not leave me." Brom did not look back. The black rider entered the road. Ichabod tried to stand. Pain shot through his ankle and he fell. The horseman approached without haste. Ichabod crawled toward the bridge. According to the legend, the spirit's power ended there. The churchyard lay beyond it. Sacred ground waited on the other side. He reached the first wooden board. The black horse stopped. Hope entered him. The horseman could not cross. Ichabod pulled himself farther onto the bridge. The rider raised one gloved hand. The bridge groaned. Fog rose from the stream, flowing upward between the wooden boards. It gathered around Ichabod's arms and legs. The legend had been wrong, or perhaps it had been carefully misunderstood. The horseman did not cross the bridge because he could not. He did not need to. The fog pulled Ichabod backward. He clawed at the boards. His fingernails broke against the wood. He tried to call Brom's name, Katrina's name, anyone's name. The horseman waited at the end of the bridge. Ichabod was dragged from the sacred side of the stream and laid upon the road before him. The rider dismounted. He was taller than any living man. His uniform was torn across the chest. Dark earth fell from its folds. Around his neck was a black wound where no blood flowed. The headless body knelt. Ichabod shut his eyes. Nothing happened. Then a voice spoke. It came not from the rider but from the woods, the road, and the earth beneath Ichabod's back. Name. Ichabod opened his eyes. The horseman extended one hand. Give. Ichabod could barely breathe. I have nothing. Name. My name. The hand remained open. Some warning moved through Ichabod's mind, but fear was louder. Ichabod Crane. The trees repeated it. Ichabod Crane. The stream whispered it. Ichabod Crane. The echo passed beneath the bridge and returned changed. Crane. Crane. Then even that faded. The horseman closed his hand. Ichabod felt something leave him. Not his breath. Not his life. Something deeper. His name disappeared from his mind. He knew he had once possessed one. He knew people had spoken it in the schoolhouse, at church, and across the Van Tassel table. But when he reached for it, he found an empty space. The horseman stood. The black wound above his shoulders began to change. Mist gathered where a head should have been. Bone formed beneath it. Flesh followed. Eyes opened. A mouth drew its first breath in 20 years. The man who had been the Hessian horseman looked down at Ichabod. His recovered face was scarred and pale. He appeared neither grateful nor cruel. Only tired. The hollow remembers a rider, he said in a thick, distant voice. It does not care who rides. Ichabod tried to speak. His voice failed. The Hessian touched his own throat, as if surprised to find it restored. One forgotten, he said, one free. He turned toward the woods. Ichabod reached after him. The Hessian looked back. For a moment, pity appeared in the soldier's recovered eyes. Do not let them forget. Then he walked into the fog and vanished. The black horse remained. Ichabod lay upon the road. He felt the cold beneath him. He felt the pain in his ankle and the broken nails upon his hands. He thought of the schoolhouse. He thought of Katrina turning away. He thought of Brom fleeing across the bridge. His memories remained, but they were already becoming less certain. He could no longer remember the sound of his own name. The fog tightened around his throat. It did not choke him. It passed through him. The world tilted. For one instant, Ichabod saw his body lying beside the road. Then he was standing above it. He tried to cry out. He had no mouth. He reached toward his face. His hands found nothing above the collar of his coat. The black horse approached and lowered itself before him. The meaning was clear. Ichabod stepped back. The horse waited. He turned toward the bridge. Beyond it lay the churchyard, the village, the Van Tassel farm, and every life he had known. He attempted to cross. At the first board, An invisible force struck him and threw him backward. The black horse waited. Ichabod tried again. Again, the bridge rejected him. Behind him, roots moved across the road. They rapped. Chapter 2. The Horseman Who Remembered the School. 20 years passed over Sleepy Hollow. They passed slowly, as years generally do for those living inside them, and swiftly for those who look backward. Children became parents. Parents became names upon stones. Trees grew across old paths, barns leaned beneath new roofs, and houses that had once stood at the edge of the wilderness found neighbors pressing close on either side. Yet the hollow did not change as other places changed. The river still carried fog into the valley. The church bell still seemed to ring after its final stroke. On autumn evenings, the surrounding hills still gathered darkness before the fields below. And the Headless Horseman continued to ride. The first sighting after Ichabod Crane's disappearance came from a farmer returning from Tarrytown. He claimed that a thin rider had followed him from the old tulip tree to the church bridge. The rider made no sound except for the beating of his horse's hooves and the violent flutter of a long, dark coat. The farmer reached the bridge and looked back. The road was empty. A week later, two brothers saw the same figure outside the abandoned schoolhouse. It sat upon a black horse, facing the windows as if waiting for a lesson to begin. The brothers ran home and agreed upon every detail, except whether the rider carried a sword. Within a year, the new horseman had been seen by half the valley and described by everyone. No one noticed that the apparition had changed. The old stories described a broad soldier with powerful shoulders and a military seat. The new rider was narrow, bent, and awkward in the saddle. The Hessian had galloped like a cavalryman charging into battle. His successor rode as though every turn might throw him into a ditch. To the people of Sleepy Hollow, a headless rider was a headless rider. They had no desire to examine him closely enough to discover distinctions. So they gave the new ghost the old ghost's history. The lost schoolmaster became a humorous tale told beside winter fires. In some versions, Ichabod had been carried away by the Hessian. In others, he had fled after discovering that the terrible head thrown at him was a pumpkin. Brom Bones never confirmed the second version, but he always laughed at the proper moment. Brom married Katrina Van Tassel the following spring. The wedding was large, cheerful, and discussed for several months. Baltus Van Tassel gave them a portion of his land and eventually left the remainder to Katrina. Brom managed the farm with more success than some had expected. Age broadened his waist, silvered his hair, and weakened one knee, but it did little to quiet his laughter. Katrina changed differently. The playful young woman became a capable mistress of the farm. She kept accounts, supervised harvests, settled arguments among servants, and remembered every family in the valley that required food during a hard winter. She and Brom had known happiness. They had also known silence. There was one subject Brom would never discuss. On the anniversary of Ichabod's disappearance, he always returned before sunset. He locked the stable. He closed the shutters. If anyone mentioned the Headless Horseman, Brom drank more than usual and laughed more loudly than the story required. Katrina noticed. For 20 years, she allowed herself not to ask. Then the horseman entered the school. The old schoolhouse had not been used for a decade. A newer building stood closer to the village, with a sound roof, proper glass windows, and a stove that did not fill the room with smoke whenever the wind changed direction. The original schoolhouse remained among the trees. Its door hung crookedly. Moss covered the steps. Rain had entered through the roof and warped the floor. Most of the desks had been removed for firewood, but the schoolmaster's table remained, together with a blackboard stained by old lessons. The children of Sleepy Hollow were forbidden to go there. Naturally, this ensured that they went whenever possible. On an October afternoon, 3 children left the road and entered the woods. Their leader was Pieter Van Etten, a boy of 11 who feared nothing when accompanied by 2 smaller children. Pieter had announced that he intended to find evidence of the Headless Horseman. His companions, Anna Hoogland and Jacob Van Ripper, intended to watch him do it. They reached the schoolhouse shortly before sunset. The door opened when Pieter pushed it. The room smelled of wet timber and dead leaves. Shafts of red evening light passed through gaps in the roof. A bird's nest rested inside the old stove. Pieter walked to the front of the room. "This was Ichabod Crane's school," he said. "My grandfather says Crane was carried off because he tried to marry a rich woman," said Jacob. "My mother says he became a judge," said Anna. "My father says he was too frightened to become anything." Pieter found a broken piece of chalk beneath the schoolmaster's table. He wrote upon the blackboard, "I see Ichabod Crane was a coward." The children laughed. A horse moved outside. The laughter stopped. Pieter turned toward the window. Between the trees stood a black animal of extraordinary size. Mist curled around its legs, though the evening was clear. A rider sat upon it. His coat was long and dark. His arms hung at his sides. Nothing rested above his collar. Anna screamed. Jacob ran for the door, collided with Pieter, and pulled him along. The 3 children fled through the woods without once looking back. They reached the road and continued running until they encountered the new schoolmaster, Mr. Verveer, returning from a visit to one of his pupils. Their story came out in fragments. A horse, a ghost, the old school, no head. Mr. Verveer considered himself a modern man. He did not believe in spirits, witches, prophetic dreams, or lessons completed without supervision. He accompanied the children back. The horse and rider were gone. Inside, the message on the blackboard had changed. Pieter's sentence had been erased. In its place, written in tall, narrow letters, were 5 words. "Who stole and why name?" Mr. Verveer stared at the board. The chalk lay upon the schoolmaster's table. It was wet with Black River mud. By nightfall, the story had reached every house in the valley. Some believed the children. Some accused them of inventing the event. Others suggested that travelers had entered the schoolhouse as a joke. A committee of sensible men inspected the building and found no sign that a horse had been inside. Brom Bones laughed when he heard. "A ghost who writes lessons," he said. "Perhaps the schoolmaster has returned to his old work." Katrina did not laugh. "What exactly did it write?" Mr. Verveer repeated the words. Katrina asked to see the blackboard. Brom's expression changed. "There is nothing to see." "Then it will cost us nothing to look. It is nearly dark. We have lanterns. The old building is unsafe. So are half the barns you enter without hesitation." Brom placed his cup upon the table. "You are giving children's nonsense too much importance." Katrina looked at him. "You seem to be giving it a great deal yourself." Brom stood. "I have work in the stable." He left without finishing his drink. Katrina waited until the sound of his footsteps had faded. Then she took a lantern and went alone. The path to the schoolhouse had nearly disappeared beneath fallen leaves. She remembered traveling it as a girl for singing lessons. She remembered Ichabod walking ahead of her with a music book beneath his arm, explaining some rule of harmony at far greater length than the rule deserved. She had not thought of his voice in years. That was not entirely true. She had trained herself not to think of it. The schoolhouse appeared between the trees. Katrina entered. Her lantern illuminated the broken desks and damp walls. The sentence remained upon the blackboard. "Who stole and why name?" She moved closer. The letters leaned slightly to the right. The capitals were unusually narrow. The final stroke of the letter M descended below the others. Katrina had seen that hand before. She opened the damaged drawer of the schoolmaster's table. Inside lay scraps of paper, old quills, and the moldering remains of a songbook. Near the back, she found a page covered in faded musical exercises. At the bottom was a correction written in ink. "Breathe here, Miss Van Tassel. Even the sweetest voice must sometimes rest." The handwriting matched the message on the blackboard. Katrina lowered herself into the schoolmaster's chair. Outside, a horse exhaled. She lifted the lantern. The Headless Horseman stood in the doorway. Katrina could not move. The stories had not prepared her for the stillness of him. She had imagined a violent creature surrounded by fire, brandishing a weapon or carrying a severed head. This figure simply stood. His coat was old and torn. His narrow shoulders were dusted with dead leaves. One long hand rested upon the doorframe. Where his head should have been, darkness gathered above the collar. Katrina rose slowly. "If you mean to harm me," she said, "I cannot prevent you." The horseman did not move. Her hand shook around the lantern. "Did you write this?" The headless figure entered. Katrina stepped back. He approached the blackboard, picked up the chalk, and began to write. His fingers moved awkwardly, as though the act required a memory his body had almost lost. Katrina watched the sentence appear. "You knew me." The chalk snapped. The horseman stared at the broken piece between his fingers. Katrina's heart beat painfully. "Who were you?" His hand rose toward the empty place above his shoulders. No answer came. "You asked who stole your name. Tell me what it was." The horseman seized another piece of chalk. He wrote a single vertical line. Then a second. His hand trembled. He could not form the first letter. The chalk fell. Katrina looked at the handwriting already on the board. Tall, narrow, exact. She thought of a man whose knees rose too high when he rode, whose arms seemed too long for every coat, and whose appetite had inspired laughter throughout the valley. She thought of the man she had dismissed in her father's parlor. Ichabod. The horseman became perfectly still. The lantern flame stretched toward him. For the first time in 20 years, his name was spoken in his presence. He bent forward as if struck. Both hands gripped the edge of the table. "Ichabod Crane," Katrina repeated. The room filled with a sound like wind passing through an empty chimney. The horseman turned toward her. He could not speak, but his whole body appeared to recognize the name. Katrina pressed one hand to her mouth. "No." The horseman extended his hand. She wanted to run. Instead, she placed her fingers in his. The hand was cold, but not without feeling. A vision entered her mind. Not an image exactly, but a memory made of terror. A moonlit road. A pumpkin breaking. Brom laughing upon the bridge. Then another horse emerging from the trees. A soldier without a head. Fog tightening around a throat. A name being pulled away. Katrina tore her hand free. The vision ended. She staggered backward. "Brom!" The horseman struck the table with his fist. The rotted wood split. His body shook with an anger so powerful that the windows rattled. Katrina lifted the lantern between them. "Did Brom kill you?" The horseman raised his hand. He began to make a sign. "Yes." "Then no." His fingers closed helplessly. He did not know. Hoofbeats sounded in the woods. The horseman turned toward the door. A shadow passed between the trees, broader than the horseman's own body. For a moment, Katrina saw the outline of another rider in a torn military coat. This second figure possessed a head. Its pale face watched from the darkness. Then it disappeared. The Headless Horseman staggered after it. His hands gripped the empty space above his collar, as though an unseen voice were speaking directly into his absent ear. Katrina heard only a whisper. A rider cannot leave the hollow without another in the saddle. The horseman struck the wall. The shadow vanished. He turned back to Katrina. There was a new violence in his movements. His hand reached toward her throat. Katrina did not retreat. Ichabod. The hand stopped. I remember you. His fingers trembled inches from her skin. You were vain, she said. You were foolish. You wanted my father's land almost as much as you wanted me. The horseman lowered his hand slightly. You spoke too much. You ate too much. You frightened children with stories and then became more frightened than they were. She was crying now. But you had a name. The horseman sank to one knee. And whatever happened that night, you did not deserve to have it taken from you. He placed one hand against the floor. The boards beneath it darkened with river water. Using his finger, he traced 3 words in the damp dust. Make Hessian speak. Brom. The horseman nodded. What must he say? The figure struggled to write again. He managed only one word. Bridge. Then the church bell rang in the distance. The horseman rose sharply. The sound seemed to pull at him. He backed toward the door, resisting an invisible force. Ichabod, wait. He stopped. Katrina took the old musical exercise from the drawer. She held it where he could see it. I have not forgotten everything. The horseman lifted one hand toward the paper. The bell rang again. He turned and fled. Katrina followed him outside. The black horse waited among the trees. Ichabod mounted, awkward even in death, and rode into the gathering fog. Katrina watched until he disappeared. When she returned home, Brom was standing in the yard. He had been waiting. Where were you? He asked. At the old school. Brom's face lost its color. Katrina held up the page bearing Ichabod's handwriting. He did not leave Sleepy Hollow. Brom looked toward the dark road. I do not know what you mean. I saw him. Brom's eyes closed. He has no head, Katrina continued, but it is Ichabod. No. He showed me the bridge. No. He showed me you. Brom opened his eyes. For an instant, Katrina saw not the powerful man the valley remembered, but the frightened rider who had fled through the woods 20 years earlier. What happened that night? She asked. Brom looked past her. From beyond the fields came a slow rhythm. Hoofbeats. I frightened him, Brom said, nothing more. The hoofbeats drew closer. And after that, Brom's voice fell. After that, I left him alive. Behind them, every horse in the stable began to scream. Chapter 3. Brom Bones tells half the truth. Brom locked the stable doors. The animals struck the walls from within. Hooves hammered against wood. Chains shook. The old farm dog crawled beneath a wagon and refused to come out. Katrina stood in the yard with the lantern. The sound from the road grew louder. One horse. One rider. Go inside, Brom said. No. Katrina. I have spent 20 years going inside whenever this subject came near our door. Brom seized her arm. This is not one of your father's harvest stories. I know. The Headless Horseman appeared beyond the gate. The black horse stopped upon the road. Its breath spread in pale clouds. The rider sat motionless, his long coat lifting in the wind. Brom released Katrina. He took a heavy iron tool from beside the stable. You cannot fight him with that. I do not intend to invite him to supper. Brom approached the gate. The horseman lifted one hand and pointed. Not at Brom. At the barn. Brom turned. A length of old black cloth hung from a wooden peg beside the door. Katrina had seen it used for covering tools and protecting harnesses from rain. The horseman pointed again. Brom's grip tightened around the iron bar. What does he want? Katrina asked. Brom did not answer. She crossed the yard and pulled down the cloth. It was not an ordinary covering. 2 openings had been cut near the middle. The lower edge was scorched and stained with mud. Though 20 years had faded it, its shape was unmistakable. It was the cloak Brom had used to conceal his head. Katrina looked at him. You kept it. I forgot it was there. For 20 years. I said I forgot. The horseman's hand closed into a fist. The lantern went out. Darkness covered the yard. The gate flew open. Brom swung the iron bar at the sound of approaching hooves. The weapon passed through the black horse and struck the ground, sending pain through his arms. A pale hand seized the front of his coat. The horseman lifted Brom from the ground. Katrina heard the old man gasp. Ichabod. The horseman turned. Do not kill him. If his confession is required, you cannot take it from a dead man. The grip loosened. Brom fell. The horseman pointed toward the road. Then he mounted and rode away. He wants us to follow, said Katrina. Brom struggled to his feet. I am going nowhere. Katrina relit the lantern. Then I will go without you. He may kill you. He has had the opportunity. Brom blocked her path. You do not understand what is waiting near that bridge. No, Katrina replied, because you have ensured that I do not. He looked toward the road. The headless horseman waited at the edge of the trees. At last, Brom entered the stable and brought out 2 horses. They followed the apparition through the hollow. The night was cold and clear, but fog moved ahead of the horseman wherever he rode. The vapor gathered around the trees and erased every path except the one he wished them to take. They passed the old tulip tree. They passed the church. At the western end of the bridge, the horseman dismounted. He walked to the roadside and pointed at the ground. Nothing marked the place except leaves, roots, and a shallow depression. Katrina dismounted. What is here? The horseman knelt. He drove his fingers into the earth and pulled. Roots shifted beneath the ground. The soil opened. Katrina's lantern illuminated a strip of rotted cloth. Brom backed away. No. The horseman reached deeper and uncovered the corner of a leather satchel. Katrina recognized it from old memories. Ichabod had carried his music and school papers inside it. She knelt and touched the cracked leather. Brom turned toward his horse. The headless horseman moved faster. He seized Brom and threw him against a tree. Stay, Katrina said. For once in your life, stay. They returned with shovels before midnight. Katrina sent a farmhand to wake the pastor and Mr. Verveer. She told the man nothing except that human remains might have been found near the bridge. 4 people eventually worked beneath the lanterns. The horseman had vanished, but his black horse remained in the woods, watching. The digging took more than an hour. First, they uncovered the satchel. Then a shoe. Then human bones, wrapped in the remains of an old coat. The skeleton was tall and narrow. Its long arms lay folded unnaturally beneath roots. It had no skull. Mr. Verveer stepped back and crossed himself despite his modern principles. The pastor knelt beside the remains. How long has he lain here? 20 years, said Katrina. Brom said nothing. Among the contents of the satchel were a rusted penknife, fragments of paper, a tuning fork, and a small book swollen by water. On the inside cover, beneath the stains, remained a name. I see Ichabod Crane. Katrina handed it to the pastor. This man did not leave Sleepy Hollow. The pastor looked at Brom. You knew where to find him. No. You led us here, said Mr. Verveer. I followed the ghost as you did. Katrina stood. Tell them what you told me. Brom looked at the headless skeleton. I played a trick. What sort of trick? Asked the pastor. Brom's voice was low. I knew Crane believed every ghost story he heard. I borrowed a dark horse. I wore the cloak. I hid my head beneath it and waited on the road. You pursued him. Yes. You threw something. A pumpkin. Mr. Verveer looked toward the broken earth. And then he fell. I crossed the bridge and left him. He was alive. How do you know? He shouted after me. The pastor's expression hardened. You left an injured man alone at night. I thought he could walk. You hoped he would leave the valley, said Katrina. Brom looked at her. Yes. The admission moved through the group. Mr. Verveer shook his head. That explains the pumpkin. It does not explain these bones. He must have fallen after I left. Roots buried him and removed his head, asked Katrina. I do not know. You saw something else. No. The memory he showed me did not end with you. Brom's eyes shifted toward the black horse. Katrina stepped closer. What came out of the woods? Nothing. The black horse pawed the ground. Brom, I have told you what happened. You have told half of it. The pastor lifted the damaged book. If this is Ichabod Crane, his remains must be placed in consecrated ground. No, Brom said quickly. Everyone looked at him. He struggled to control his voice. I mean, not tonight. We have disturbed enough. You fear that moving him will anger the horsemen, said Katrina. I fear that none of us understands what we are doing. A branch cracked in the woods. The black horse was gone. The pastor arranged for the bones to be carried to a small room beside the church until a proper grave could be prepared. The headless skeleton was wrapped in clean cloth. Ichabod's possessions were placed beside it. Brom refused to enter the church. He returned home alone. Katrina remained with the pastor and Mr. Verveer until the first pale light appeared above the hills. On her way back, she found Brom's horse wandering near the road. The saddle was empty. Katrina followed the hoofprints into the woods. They led toward the abandoned schoolhouse. Inside, she heard a man shouting. She ran to the door. Brom stood against the blackboard. The headless horseman held him by the throat. The room was filled with shadow. Behind Ichabod rose the shape of the Hessian soldier, now possessing the pale head he had taken from the curse. His military coat hung in pieces. His eyes were dark hollows above sunken cheeks. Brom could not see him. Katrina could. The Hessian placed one hand upon Ichabod's shoulder. Take him. Ichabod's fingers tightened around Brom's throat. He took your life. Brom struck helplessly at the horseman's arm. He took your love. The shadow leaned closer. He took your story and made it his joke. The empty space above Ichabod's collar turned toward the Hessian. One forgotten, whispered the soldier, one free. Katrina entered. Ichabod. The horseman jerked. Brom fell to the floor, coughing. The Hessian looked at Katrina. You speak the name, he said, but a name is not a head. Where is it? The soldier smiled. Where the hollow placed it. Tell me. The dead receive no directions from the living. I am speaking to you. You are speaking to what remains after a man has been forgotten. He gestured toward Brom. Give the rider another. Let the schoolmaster walk free. Brom tried to rise. Ichabod seized him again. Katrina moved between them. The horseman stopped. "You once believed that I used you to make him jealous," Katrina said to Ichabod. "Perhaps I did. I enjoyed being wanted. I did not consider what my games might cause." The Hessian's smile widened. "Another confession. The hollow is full of them when confessions cost nothing." Katrina ignored him. "I cannot change what I did, but I will not let you answer it with murder." The Hessian's voice hardened. "He abandoned you to the road. He must tell the whole truth. His death would be truth. It would be silence." Ichabod's hand shook. The Hessian pressed down upon his shoulder. "Take him." Instead, Ichabod released Brom. He picked up a piece of chalk. With violent, uneven strokes, he wrote, "Tell her." Brom remained on the floor. Ichabod struck the board. "Tell her." "I have told her," Brom said. The chalk snapped in Ichabod's fingers. The Hessian moved inside him. The horseman's body arched. His hands rose toward the empty place above his neck. The entire schoolhouse shook as though a storm had entered it. When he turned again, his movements were no longer awkward. They were those of a soldier. He drew an invisible blade from his side. Katrina recognized that Ichabod was losing control. She seized the old music page from her coat. "Ichabod, look." The horseman advanced. She held up the paper. "Breathe here, Miss Van Tassel," she read. "Even the sweetest voice must sometimes rest." The horseman stopped. His sword hand lowered. For an instant, the outline of a long, narrow face appeared above his collar. Then the Hessian tore away from him in a cloud of black mist. The shadow passed through the wall. Ichabod fell to his knees. Katrina knelt beside him. His hand found the chalk. He wrote upon the floor, "He is taking the rest." "What rest?" Ichabod pointed to the old message. "You knew me." He erased the first word. Only the second remained. "Knew." Past tense. Katrina understood. The memories were disappearing. "How long do we have?" He drew a circle. Within it, he made the shape of a moon. Then he added a line through the center and pointed toward the calendar page still hanging beside the ruined desk. The final night of October. All Hallows' Eve. Less than 2 weeks away. Brom rose slowly. "What happens then?" Ichabod wrote, "No man. Beneath it, only writer." "And if you take another person?" Katrina asked. He did not answer. The Hessian's whisper came from somewhere beneath the floor. "One forgotten, one free." Brom looked at the door. Katrina blocked it. "You saw the real horseman that night." He stared at her. "You saw what took Ichabod." Brom's face tightened. "Say it." "I saw something." "What?" "Another rider." The answer was barely audible. "Louder." Brom looked at the headless figure kneeling on the floor. "I saw another rider come out of the woods." Ichabod rose. "A real rider," Brom continued. "Not a man beneath a cloak, not a pumpkin, a soldier with no head." The schoolhouse became silent. "I ran," Brom said. Katrina waited. "There," he told her, "that is the truth." Ichabod wrote one word. "More." Brom shook his head. "There is no more." The horseman struck the blackboard so hard that a crack ran through it. Brom flinched. "What have you not said?" Katrina asked. He looked from her to Ichabod. "I returned." "When?" "Before morning." "Why?" "To see whether Crane had gone." "And?" Brom's mouth opened, but no words came. The Headless Horseman took one step forward. Brom backed toward the door. "I saw the ground closing," he said, "roots moving over him. I heard something riding in the woods." "You knew he was dead." "I did not see the body clearly." "You knew." "I was afraid." "And you told everyone he had fled." "If I had told them the truth, they would have blamed me." "You were responsible." "I did not summon that thing." "You delivered Ichabod to it and abandoned him." Brom's voice rose. "I meant to frighten him, that was all. I wanted him gone. I did not want him dead." Ichabod stood motionless. Brom faced him. "I am sorry." The horseman lifted one hand. For a moment, Katrina thought he would accept the apology. Instead, he pointed to the blackboard. "More." Brom's face became gray. The Hessian laughed beneath the floor. There was still another truth, and Brom would not speak it. Chapter 4. The Name Beneath the Grave. The people of Sleepy Hollow buried Ichabod Crane 3 days later. They could not bury all of him. The headless bones were placed in a coffin, together with the ruined satchel, the tuning fork, and the little book bearing his name. The pastor spoke of a teacher who had lived among them and whose fate had been misunderstood. Few people remembered enough to mourn him. Some attended from guilt, others came from curiosity. A large number came because they hoped the Headless Horseman would appear. Brom remained at the edge of the churchyard. Katrina stood beside the empty space where the coffin's head should have been. The grave was filled. A temporary wooden marker bore the words, Ichabod Crane, schoolmaster. His end is not yet known. The final line troubled Katrina. His end was now partly known. It was the beginning that had been lost. That night the horseman entered the churchyard. He approached his own grave but could not cross the consecrated boundary. An invisible wall stopped him at the gate. He extended both hands toward the wooden marker. Katrina watched from the church steps. She had begun waiting for him each night. "I spoke your name before the village." He turned toward her. It was not enough. The horseman shook his head. "The remains must be complete." He nodded. "We will find what is missing." Ichabod lifted one hand and traced words in the air. No letters appeared. He tried again. Nothing. Katrina approached the gate. "Can you still write?" The horseman looked toward the old schoolhouse. His shoulders sank. Another memory had been taken. Katrina opened the gate, but Ichabod could not enter. She held out the musical exercise. "Do you remember this?" He touched the page. For several seconds, there was no response. Then his fingers moved, as though directing an invisible choir. He remembered the music. For the moment, Katrina searched the church records. The pastor gave her access to ledgers, letters, burial lists, and journals left by his predecessors. Most contained nothing except marriages, deaths, repairs, arguments over church property, and complaints about the condition of the bridge. In the oldest journal, she found a reference to the Hessian. The entry had been written shortly after the war. A foreign soldier was today interred without his head, his name being unknown. Several men objected to placing him in Christian ground, but as death has already judged him beyond our authority, I permitted it. His body was buried near the northern wall. Below, in different ink, another hand had added, "He does not remain there." Katrina turned the page. Years later, a traveling preacher had recorded the story of a headless rider seen near the bridge. The preacher dismissed it as superstition until a local man disappeared. The missing man's body was never found. Afterward, witnesses claimed that the horseman's shape had changed. Katrina read further. Each generation of the legend contained 2 disappearances. One person vanished near the bridge. Soon afterward, a stranger appeared beyond the hollow with no memory of his former life. The curse did not merely kill. It exchanged. One forgotten soul took the rider's place, while the previous horseman returned to the world bearing a restored face and an empty past. Near the back of the journal, Katrina found a warning. The rider is sustained by 3 absences: the absence of the head, the absence of the name among the living, and the absence of truth concerning the death. Restore the head. Speak the name before witnesses. Let the cause of death be confessed by one who bears responsibility. If these 3 absences are filled before the rider's last human memory is extinguished, the chain may be broken. If they are not, the rider must choose another forgotten soul, and the road will continue to be fed. Katrina read the passage twice. Then she found a final note. The missing head lies where the root drinks from the river, and the dead hear the church bell beneath the water. She took the journal to the bridge. Brom followed reluctantly. Mr. Verveer and the pastor came with shovels. Near the eastern bank, the roots of an ancient sycamore extended into the stream. One root curved beneath the water like an arm. They dug where it entered the soil. At sunset, Mr. Verveer's shovel struck bone. The skull lay inside a mass of roots. It was not clean and white, as bones displayed in physicians' cabinets sometimes were. It was dark with earth and stained by the river. A narrow fracture crossed one side where the pumpkin and fall had injured the living man. Katrina lifted it carefully. "Is it his?" asked the pastor. The question required no answer. As the skull left the earth, a cry moved across the hollow. It came from no single direction. Every window in the church shattered. The black horse burst from the woods. Ichabod rode low over its neck. Behind him spread the shadow of the Hessian, his torn coat streaming like wings. The horseman charged toward the bridge. Brom reached for Katrina. "Run!" She held the skull against her chest. Ichabod crossed half the distance, then pulled violently at the reins. The black horse reared. The Hessian's shadow pressed forward, trying to drive him onward. "Give it to me," the soldier roared. The others heard only thunder. Katrina heard the words. "No, it belongs to the rider. It belongs to Ichabod Crane." The Hessian's face turned toward her. "That name is nearly dead." "I am not." "You will be." The black horse struck the road with its hooves. Ichabod fought the shadow. His hands moved differently from one moment to the next, first the awkward grip of a schoolmaster, then the firm control of a cavalryman. Katrina stepped onto the bridge. "Ichabod." The horseman stopped resisting. His empty collar turned toward her. She held up the skull. "I found you." The Hessian withdrew slightly. Katrina crossed to the church side of the bridge. Ichabod could not follow. "We have your head. The village has spoken your name. One thing remains." The horseman turned toward Brom. Brom backed away. Katrina faced her husband. "You must confess everything before witnesses." "I have." "Not everything." "I frightened him. I abandoned him. I returned and concealed what I saw. What more do you want?" The horseman dismounted. He approached the boundary. The Hessian's shadow followed. Brom stared at them. His eyes moved from the headless figure to the skull in Katrina's hands. "I cannot." "You must." "You do not understand." "Then make me understand." Brom's hands closed. "If I tell it, you will never look at me in the same way." "I have not looked at you in the same way since the night we found his bones. I was young. So was he. I was angry. So was he. I did not know what would happen. You knew enough to remain silent afterward." The Headless Horseman reached toward Brom. His fingers stopped at the invisible boundary. The Hessian whispered into him. He will never confess. Take him, and his voice will no longer matter. Ichabod pressed both hands against the wall, separating him from consecrated ground. The air rippled. The pastor opened the old journal. We have until midnight on All Hallows Eve, he said. 4 nights. And if we fail? Asked Mr. Verveer. The pastor looked at the horseman. What remains of Ichabod Crane will be gone. The Hessian smiled. And someone else must take his place. That night, Brom slept in the stable with a pistol beside him. Katrina placed Ichabod's skull in a locked cabinet inside the church. At midnight, she awoke to find the cabinet open. The skull remained. Upon the wall above it, written in river water, was a single word. Hurry. The next day, Ichabod could no longer remember the schoolhouse. He stood outside it and showed no recognition. Katrina took him inside. She placed chalk in his hand. He stared at it as if he had never seen such an object. Write your name. His fingers closed around the chalk. He made an I, then stopped. The Hessian appeared behind him. Names are burdens, the soldier said. Let it fall. Ichabod tried again. I see. The Hessian touched his shoulder. The letters disappeared beneath a spreading black stain. Katrina stepped between them. You were forgotten too, she told the soldier. His pale expression changed. You had a name once. No. A mother spoke it. No. Men beside you in battle knew it. They died. Then you understand what is being done to him. The Hessian seized her throat. His hand passed partly through her, yet cold entered her body. I understand that one man's freedom is purchased by another man's forgetting. That is not freedom. It is the only kind the hollow permits. Ichabod struck the Hessian. The shadow broke apart and filled the room like smoke. The blackboard cracked down the center. When the darkness cleared, Katrina found Ichabod standing over her. He helped her rise. His headless body bent with concern. You remember me, she whispered. His hand touched her face, then hesitated. He no longer knew her name. The following evening, a child disappeared. Jacob Van Ripper had been sent to carry bread to his grandmother. His basket was found near the road. Small footprints led into the woods. Beside them were the tracks of a black horse. The valley gathered men, dogs, lanterns, and weapons. They searched until darkness became too thick to enter safely. Brom joined them. Near the old tulip tree, the searchers heard a child crying. They found Jacob standing beneath the branches. The Headless Horseman sat nearby. One hand rested upon the boy's shoulder. Brom raised his pistol. Move away from him. The horseman turned. Jacob clung to Ichabod's coat. He did not hurt me, the boy said. He found me. The Hessian's shadow circled them. Take the child, it whispered to Ichabod. No one remembers children correctly. They become whatever story the living tell. Ichabod's fingers tightened. The boy looked up at the empty collar. Are you Mr. Crane? Ichabod released him. Jacob ran to his father. The horseman mounted. Brom fired. The ball passed through Ichabod and struck the tree. The horseman rode directly at him. Brom tried to reload. Ichabod seized him from the ground and carried him into the woods. The searchers scattered. Katrina followed. She found them at the bridge. Brom lay upon the road. Ichabod stood over him with both hands around his throat. The Hessian watched. One forgotten, he said, one free. Brom looked into the darkness where Ichabod's face should have been. All right, he gasped. Ichabod's grip loosened. I will tell it. Katrina approached. Now. Brom shook his head. before the village at the bridge on the final night. Why wait? Because if I say it once, I will say it where no one can pretend not to hear. The Hessian stepped toward him. You will run. Brom heard only the wind, but answered as though he understood. No. Ichabod released him. Brom stood unsteadily. I ran once, he said. That was enough. From the church tower the bell rang. 3 nights remained. Then 2. Then 1. On the morning of All Hallows Eve, the temporary marker above Ichabod's grave was found broken. His name had vanished from the wood. Katrina spoke it aloud. The pastor repeated it. Mr. Verveer made every child in the school write it across a page. I see Ichabod Crane. I see Ichabod Crane. I see Ichabod Crane. By sunset, the name appeared in windows, upon doors, and along the road to the bridge. The hollow had made a joke of him for 20 years. Now at last it prepared to remember. Chapter 5. The next Headless Horseman. The people of Sleepy Hollow gathered at the church bridge before midnight. They came carrying lanterns, Bibles, muskets, farm tools, and every protection that fear or faith suggested. Some wore crosses. Others carried iron nails, salt, or branches cut from trees believed to repel spirits. No one knew whether any of these things would help. The pastor stood at the center of the bridge with the old journal. Mr. Verveer waited beside Ichabod's open coffin, which had been moved from the grave to the churchyard gate. The skull rested at the head of the bones, but had not yet been placed among them. Katrina stood beside Brom. You can still tell me before he comes, she said. No. Why? Because if I tell only you, I may later convince myself that I said something different. Brom looked at the gathered villagers. They must hear it. A wind moved down from the hills. Every lantern flame leaned toward the road. The church clock showed 1:15 midnight. The pastor opened the journal. Whatever occurs, no one must leave until the confession is complete. A nervous voice came from the crowd. And if the horseman attacks, then I suggest you remain especially attentive. No one laughed. Hoofbeats entered the hollow. They were slow at first. Each beat sounded like earth falling upon a coffin. The Headless Horseman emerged from the woods. He appeared taller than before. His narrow frame was wrapped in shadow, and the torn uniform of the Hessian flickered over Ichabod's old coat. His hands alternated between the long fingers of the schoolmaster and the gloved fists of the soldier. The black horse approached the bridge. It stopped at the boundary. Katrina stepped forward. Ichabod Crane. The horseman's body jerked. Mr. Verveer repeated the name. Ichabod Crane. The pastor spoke it. Then the children. Then their parents. Soon the entire gathering was saying the name. Ichabod Crane. The sound traveled across the bridge. The horseman gripped the saddle. Above his collar, mist began to gather into the faint outline of a face. A long nose. Large ears. A narrow chin. Then the Hessian's shadow burst from his body. The soldier stood behind the horse, restored head upon his shoulders. His face was pale and furious. Names are not enough. The crowd heard thunder. Katrina heard words. She lifted the skull. We have his head. The Hessian moved toward her. The invisible boundary stopped him. The pastor read from the journal. Restore the head. Speak the name before witnesses. Let the cause of death be confessed by one who bears responsibility. Everyone looked at Brom. He walked onto the bridge. My name is Abraham Van Brunt. The horseman dismounted. Brom continued. 20 years ago, I was jealous of Ichabod Crane. A murmur moved through the crowd. I thought he intended to marry Katrina Van Tassel. I believed he wanted her father's property. I believed him vain, greedy, and ridiculous. The horseman stood at the far end of the bridge. Some of those things may have been true, Brom said. They did not excuse what I did. The Hessian began circling Ichabod. Brom looked at the villagers. I disguised myself as the Headless Horseman. I chased Ichabod through the woods. I threw a pumpkin at him near this bridge and he fell. Several older villagers nodded. This was the version they had suspected. Brom had not yet reached the hidden truth. I crossed the bridge and revealed myself. He was alive. He shouted that he would expose me. His voice weakened. The Hessian smiled. I saw another rider come from the woods, Brom continued. A real headless soldier. I was afraid and I ran. Katrina held her breath. I returned before sunrise. I saw the road open. I saw roots pulling Ichabod's body into the ground. The crowd became silent. I knew he had died. The horseman took one step onto the bridge. The invisible barrier struck him. Brom forced himself to continue. I told no one. I let the village believe he had escaped because I feared punishment and shame. Every time someone laughed at the story, I laughed with them. Ichabod pressed against the boundary. The shape of his face appeared more clearly. Brom looked directly at him. I abandoned you. I concealed your death. I allowed your name to become a joke. The church clock began moving toward midnight. 5 minutes remained. The pastor raised the skull. Is that all? Brom closed his eyes. No. Katrina turned to him. The Hessian laughed. There was the final truth. Brom opened his eyes. When I returned to the bridge, the soldier had not yet taken him. Ichabod became still. I saw Ichabod alive upon the road. Katrina stared at her husband. You said the roots were already covering him. They were beginning to move. You could have helped him. Yes. Brom's voice broke. He saw me, he called my name. The horseman entered the first few inches of the bridge. The wood blackened beneath his foot. I had a rope. I could have thrown it to him from the church side. Perhaps it would have done nothing. Perhaps the creature would have taken me too. Brom looked at his hands. But I did not try. The Hessian leaned toward Ichabod. Now you know. I stood where I was safe, Brom said. I watched the fog pull him from the bridge. Katrina stepped away from him. I wanted him gone. In that moment, part of me thought the thing in the road was doing what I had been too cowardly to do myself. Ichabod crossed another step onto the bridge. The barrier cracked like ice. Brom faced him. I did not strike the final blow, but I chose not to save you. Then I protected myself with silence for 20 years. The confession ended. The clock began to strike. 1. The pastor placed Ichabod's skull with the bones. The Headless Horseman screamed. The sound came from the road, the stream, the churchyard, and every house in the hollow. His body lifted from the ground. Mist poured from the empty collar. 2. The outline of Ichabod's face formed above his shoulders. His eyes appeared first. They were wide with pain and recognition. 3. The Hessian seized him from behind. No rider leaves without another. Ichabod's restored mouth opened. At first only air emerged. Then he spoke one word. Katrina. She wept. You remember me. 4. The Hessian's arms tightened around him. Ichabod's face began to disappear. Bring the bones across the boundary, the pastor cried. Mr. Verveer and 2 men lifted the coffin. The Hessian stretched one hand toward Brom. The air between them opened. Brom was dragged forward. 5. Ichabod seized the Hessian's arm. The soldier whispered, Take him. Brom fell at the western end of the bridge. Fog wrapped around his legs. Zix! The Hessian forced Ichabod's hand toward Brom's throat. He is offered, his guilt makes him ready. Ichabod's fingers closed around Brom. One forgotten, the Hessian said, one free. 7. Ichabod looked at the man who had chased him, abandoned him, mocked his disappearance, and hidden his death. Brom did not fight. If it must be me, he said, then take me. Katrina ran toward them. The Hessian raised his free hand. A wall of wind threw her backward. 8. The coffin reached the bridge. The men could carry it no farther. The supernatural force pressed against them. Inside, Ichabod's bones shook. The skull rolled toward the edge. 9. The Hessian spoke into Ichabod's mind. Take his name. Ichabod saw how easily it could be done. Abraham Van Brunt. Brom Bones. The name could be pulled free as Ichabod's had been. Brom would rise without a face or voice. He would ride the hollow, pursued by guilt he could no longer name. Ichabod would be released. He might awaken beyond the valley with a restored body. He might walk beneath the sun. He might live whatever years remained to him. All he needed to do was accept the exchange. 10. Ichabod tightened his hand around Brom's throat. Brom closed his eyes. Katrina cried out, "You are not what he made you." Ichabod looked at her. "You are not what we made you," she said. "Not a coward, not a joke, not this monster." The Hessian roared. "He left you." "Yes," Ichabod said. It was the first clear word he had spoken. "He watched you die." "Yes." "He stole your life." Ichabod looked at Brom. "No." Brom opened his eyes. 11. Ichabod released him. The Hessian's face twisted. "You choose the saddle." "I choose no one. The road requires a rider." "Then let it end with me." The Hessian seized Ichabod's newly formed head. His fingers sank into the mist. "You cannot break what the forgotten have fed for generations." Ichabod looked toward the coffin. His skull waited among the bones. His name moved through the crowd. The truth had been spoken. Only choice remained. 12. Ichabod mounted the black horse. The Hessian rose behind him. The soldier laughed. "Yes, ride." Ichabod turned the horse toward the bridge. The animal resisted. He pulled the reins. For the first time, it obeyed him. The black horse stepped onto the sacred boundary. Fire rose from its hooves. The Hessian screamed. Ichabod rode forward. At the middle of the bridge, the shadow tried to tear itself from him. Its hands clawed at the air. Faces appeared within the black mist, not only the Hessians but the faces of forgotten riders who had carried the curse before him. Another must take the saddle. Ichabod looked toward Brom. "No. Then you will remain forever." "No. You will have no grave." Ichabod glanced toward his coffin. "I have one. No one will remember you." The children began saying his name again. Ichabod Crane. Mr. Verveer joined them. Ichabod Crane. The pastor. Katrina. At last Brom. Ichabod Crane. The schoolmaster smiled. The expression was faint and incomplete, but it belonged to him. He urged the horse onward. At the far end of the bridge, the black animal reared. The river rose beneath them. Water and fog formed a great white hand. It seized horse, rider, and shadow together. The Hessian gave one final cry. Ichabod looked back at Katrina. Then all three were pulled into the river. The water fell. Silence covered the hollow. Katrina ran to the edge. There was no horse below. No rider. No Hessian. only the dark river passing beneath the bridge. Behind her, the bones in the coffin settled. The pastor approached. Ichabod's skull now rested naturally at the head of the skeleton. The fracture along its side remained, but no bone was missing. The curse had returned what it had taken. Brom rose slowly. "Is he free?" The pastor looked at the river. "I believe he chose freedom for someone else." Katrina turned toward her husband. She did not forgive him that night. Some truths repair what silence has broken. Others reveal damage too deep to disappear with a confession. Brom did not ask for immediate forgiveness. For the first time, he did not protect himself with a joke. He helped carry Ichabod's coffin into the churchyard. They buried the schoolmaster before dawn. The new stone bore no mention of the Headless Horseman. It read, Ichabod Crane, schoolmaster of Sleepy Hollow. He was lost, and his name was returned. Beneath it, Katrina requested another line. Let no man become only the story told about Him. The old schoolhouse was repaired. Mr. Verveer insisted that it remain standing, not as a haunted ruin, but as a place where children could learn the history of the hollow. The cracked blackboard was preserved. On it remained the faint outline of the first message. Who stole and why name? Brom never again told the story of the pumpkin for laughter. When travelers asked about Ichabod Crane, he told the entire truth. He told it even when the telling lowered him in the listener's opinion. He told it until confession ceased to be a single brave act and became the duty of the rest of his life. Katrina kept the old musical page. In time, she and Brom learned to speak to one another again, though their marriage was never quite the same. Perhaps no honest marriage is the same after a long silence has finally been opened. Years passed. The sightings of the Headless Horseman ended. No rider chased travelers toward the bridge. No black horse waited outside the schoolhouse. The valley gradually accepted that the old legend had reached its conclusion. Yet Sleepy Hollow does not surrender its stories easily. Many years afterward, a young girl became lost in the woods on an autumn evening. She had wandered from the road while gathering berries and could not find her way home. Darkness fell. She heard a horse approach. A rider emerged from the fog. He wore an old black coat. His body was tall and narrow. Nothing rested above his collar. The girl was frightened, but the rider did not chase her. He pointed toward a hidden path. When she failed to understand, he dismounted, took a stick, and wrote a word in the earth. Home. He walked beside her until she saw the lights of her father's house. Before she could call to him, the rider had vanished. The girl's parents believed that fear had confused her. Others claimed she had encountered a traveler and imagined the missing head. But the schoolmaster who later heard her story asked one question. How did he ride? The girl thought carefully. Badly, she said. His knees were much too high and his elbows stuck out. The schoolmaster smiled. He went to the churchyard and placed fresh flowers upon Ichabod Crane's grave. And on certain autumn nights, when a frightened child loses the road near Sleepy Hollow, a rider is still said to appear, not to chase the child deeper into the woods, but to guide the child safely home.